Hello, my name is Laura Moore, and these are the sketches I have for SafeBite. I did learn that while I was doing these sketches, I kept coming up with more and more and more ideas. I just didn't have time, so to speak, to continuously write them, and I didn't want to hand in like 10 sketches of each screen or each frame, so to speak. But I would love to hear the feedback on it because I have a ton of different questions and I tend to like overwork things or overthink things and try to incorporate too much in. Starting out, we've got the welcome and onboarding screens. I just want to introduce the app's purpose and let the user set up fairly quickly, kind of make it a painless procedure, so to speak. So I know in one of the other presentations I had given, like just the intro to where I'm at in the project, I had mentioned using Playfair and Lotto as my typography, and I love playing with two fonts like together. So when I have like the cursive in here, I hope to use the Playfair, and then where I have like regular is just the Lotto font. So I wanted to kind of incorporate that as almost like the logo in lieu of a logo, I guess. And then I wanted to include like the 3 statements of kind of the app's purpose, like discover allergen safe foods, reduce food waste, and cook confidently. I didn't know if like I should do it as a carousel or just like maybe some bubbles or shapes or just list it out in like a card almost, or just get rid of the card itself and just have it listed out, or maybe make it smaller and put it under here. But I've been kind of tossing around all of those different ideas. I also wanted to make sure I incorporated both a login and a sign up option because we're obviously going to have a fair amount of first time users that are going to need to sign up in lieu of logging in. And then moving on to our login or sign up screens. This is another one where I didn't know if I should include listing their allergies in, or if I should kind of change the user flow where you go from the welcome screen to the login sign up screen, and if you're signing in, you just go straight into the app, but if you're logging in, it gets you sent to kind of the settings screen that we'll see later, and you can adjust your profile to match your allergens or any dietary restrictions, like if you're on keto or you're diabetic or you're on paleo or whatever the newest like diet is. So I don't want to make the sign up screen too busy. I just want to make it like quick and inclusive, and nice and easy for them to use. I did see on like a lot of apps that I use these days have continue with Google and continue with Apple, because some people find it easier to just continue with their Gmail. They have it like linked through everything in their phone, and then same with like their Apple emails and IDs. So I kind of was toying with the idea of having that on there as far as like our login screens, and then I made a separate screen for signing up where you have your email, password, confirming that password, listing your allergens, and then go ahead and get started. And then in theory, I was thinking to take us to our next screen, but I was still wondering if when you're signing up, it should shoot you to settings and put your allergy stuff in there instead. So if you're signing up, and this is where I was kind of thinking, instead of shooting you to a home dashboard, it shoots you into like your profile page, like the settings page where you can add all of your stuff, or it shoots you into the welcome page, like your home dashboard screen, instead, and you kind of navigate yourself through the menu at the bottom and like the buttons to add and stuff. So I wanted to include kind of the 3 main like features, so to speak, 3 or 4 main features of the app. So your pantry, so what's expiring soon, maybe some notifications on your dashboard, some new recipes of the day that are possibly matching what's in your pantry, and then allergen alerts, like anything in your pantry that you kind of haven't notified, like if you want to keep or get rid of or donate, that it brings your attention to like the allergens that are found that you haven't acted upon yet. I do kind of have like a lot more going on dashboard where the cards are a little bit bigger and you see more details. Or I have like a smaller, simple, like this is just kind of your notification homepage thing. And I have like these add buttons that I'm hoping that like frequent users, not necessarily first time users, would know that they can click that to add into their pantry. And then if that wasn't explained enough or we thought that they might get confused, I added like a traditional one. And then I wanted to play with maybe a card system where they see like a bigger shot of what's expiring soon, and then they can swipe over and see the recipes and then swipe over again and see their allergen alerts. As far as the menu goes, I was mainly keeping it at the bottom because that's where most apps are, but I also was thinking after doing these sketches of possibly putting them on the side, and leaving this to go down further so you could scroll and make these a little bit bigger, and then you could just scroll through and have your menu like kind of on the side. But I just wanted this screen to kind of give users the snapshot of their food status and any key actions that they're going to be frequently using. The food scanner screen, this is essentially going to be the barcode area where it's going to open up your camera. You'll take a picture of that barcode, like scan the barcode. And if for whatever reason, whatever product you have, it doesn't have a barcode on it, or you wanted to enter it in manually because maybe it's not being recognized by the barcode, I wanted to go ahead and add the like enter manually buttons. And then once you've scanned the product, it'll list here what the product is, a picture of it so you can make sure it matches, like its name, and then a marker where in theory where it says like unsafe, it would be like a red or one of my alert colors that I had some ideas for in my other presentation as well, and then also list that allergen, like why it's unsafe. And then you have the option to add it to your pantry or to mark it for donation to a local food bank or shelter or wherever you have set up in your profile to that you like to donate to. And then again, we just kind of have the menus on the bottom. I did kind of switch these up to see like how exactly I wanted to list it out. Like, do I want details of the ingredients? Do I want to just kind of keep it simple and basic? Do I want the unsafe marker to be nice and big so they're drawn to it? Or can I keep it subtle since I plan on coloring it? Like I have the ingredients here, the product kind of separated, where this card just kind of like discusses the ingredients and whether it's safe or not. And then I kind of kept with that plus sign and have it like add to manually. But I didn't know if I used my plus signs in this, if it would be confusing, because in the other screen I was suggesting that that would open up the pantry. For inventory tracker screens, so this is essentially going to be your, what I'm calling your pantry. And I don't think I explained it before, but the menu icons, this is home for your home dashboard. I did an apple for the pantry, so I plan on using like some kind of food icon. This is a poorly drawn recipe book to take you to the recipe section, a hand outstretched for the community section, and then a little person icon for your profile section. Pantry, I kind of have a different idea as far as like the tabs go. I do want to include like a all place where you can just see all of your ingredients regardless if they might be expiring soon or they did expire. And then I wanted to have pictures of every item and then kind of their descriptions. And I was thinking about also in here adding like the little markers where they're marked like unsafe, safe, or may contain traces, so to speak. So I know that's something I personally look out for with my allergies. But I have this as kind of like a side tab, almost like those little post-it flag concepts. You can't really tell in here, but this is like shaded with a pencil to notate that we're looking at the all section. And then I have like the expiring soon and the expired one. And then I have an option where you can mark them with buttons, and you can either donate mark, delete mark, or mark all as used, like the items are used. And then I have another option here where you're swiping for more actions. And this is like a donate or a trash option, because I figured deleting / marking as used is probably going to be the same thing. So I kind of got rid of that option. I kind of think that this idea is a little bit more clean than all of these buttons stacked down here. And then I also incorporated the ad for add an item to your pantry. But this one I did like a carousel option, so you could swipe through like these ones are expiring soon, this is what is expired, and this is what all is. And then this screen is essentially like the same as this one, except I have tabs and my tabs are up top. I mainly just want to use this to help them track and organize what they have to prevent waste. So this is where my sustainability actions are going to come in, or start to come in at least. Then recipe suggestion screens. So this is where you're going to be able to find like fun new recipes to keep your dinners and your lunches and maybe even breakfast to a little bit more exciting. I'm one of those people that I can do leftovers for like maybe 2 or 3 days max, and then after that I'm kind of sick of it. My husband grew up a lot different than I did. There's 6 siblings all together, plus the 2 adults, so they always cooked a lot of food, so they always had a lot of leftovers. Whereas I was an only child at my dad's house, and then at my mom's house, it was me and my 2 sisters, and we pretty much only made for the appropriate amount of people because we had a smaller family, so I wasn't used to eating leftovers over and over and over again, and I guess it's just a habit that I found. So I like new and exciting recipes, plus I'm 31 years old and just found out that I'm allergic to dairy, soy, and capsaicin. And being allergic to dairy and soy kind of takes out a lot of stuff. So I wanted to provide like allergen safe recipes using items from your pantry. So you are using up your items in your pantry before they expire, creating less waste, and coming up with new ideas to combat your allergens. You don't always have to eat super boring. I think these ideas are pretty different from each other, and I'm kind of having a hard time deciding what I want to use, but I am kind of leaning more towards this style where you scroll through recipes. I wanted to put a ribbon or some sort of like maybe check mark or something symbol where a recipe is completely safe for any of your allergies, and then like an exclamation point or something where it may contain, it's a recipe that may contain an allergen where you might need substitutions or something like that. Then a picture of like the finished dish, the title of the dish, and then like a short description of it. And then up here you'll have like menu options that you can kind of filter options, I guess is a better word, that you can slide through and select to make sure they're accurate for your specific recipe, so you don't get options that could be bad for your allergy. And then of course a search bar. If you remember seeing a recipe that you didn't save or you didn't use before but you kind of want to go back to it, or an idea that you have, you can search it in the search bar and it'll pull up a result. And I didn't know if we also needed to include screens where it shows like a keyboard coming down or coming up, I guess, and typing in like the recipe option. And I didn't know if I needed like a search result page after you searched a recipe, like what it would look like. So I'd love to know if I should include that as well. And then I changed these two both to have like a hamburger menu on the side for their filters instead. And I didn't know if like first-time users are going to understand that this is a hamburger menu for filters, or if I needed to include like an actual word that said filters. But this is going to be similar to this, whereas instead of just continuously scrolling, you can load more. And then this one is set up more to be a carousel, so you're kind of displaying that recipe image a little bit bigger and better. For the community and sharing screen, this is to build engagement and promote the sustainability, so to promote the donation and stuff like that. I wanted to include somewhere in here like a donation center map like it's gonna pull from like Google Maps or something of that nature, and it has like a quick little like pins all over the map of donation centers that are closest to you, whether they be shelters, food banks, whatever centers that might be collecting food donations. I also wanted to include a recipe swap area where like you can add your own recipe that might be featured in the actual recipes themselves, and then like quick tips. So maybe one of the tips is like a really good substitution for sour cream if you're lactose intolerant or you have to be dairy free. And these are all kind of different from each other too. I have like the side tabs like before, where you can kind of swap in between like screens, so it'll always have the map on it, but it'll change this up here from adding recipe to maybe displaying tips, or maybe I get rid of this and just make the add recipe larger. And then this one up top, I have top menus where I can add my kind of swap through the same concept of here where you can add a recipe or flip in between the tips. And then this one kind of displays all of it and you just scroll through. And lastly, we've got our settings and profile screens. So this is where I was thinking if you're a new user and you're signing up, this is where it'll shoot you through, is to your profile, and you can add your allergens, any dietary preferences, units. So if you are from a European country or something and you are used to different measuring units, you can swap it here. And then a notification setting, whether you want them on or off. And then a button where you can kind of tab into accessibility settings and then privacy settings. And then I have this one open a bit bigger where you're going to scroll down. Again, our plus sign where we can add more allergens, preferences where we can change and edit these, same with accessibility, and then scrolling down, privacy would essentially be the same as the accessibility settings. And then here, again, with the side tabs, I don't know why I've been so obsessed with things being put on the side lately, but I have the side tabs, so when you click on each thing, it's going to be like full screen, so you can kind of see everything a bit better. So when you click into preferences, for instance, it would have like diet, and then you could add in like any specific diet you're doing, and then units, and you could change all your units, and notifications, like whether you wanted to turn them on or not. And then accessibility functions and privacy would be like listed out the exact same way. I just wanted to be able to give users kind of control over their preferences, but kind of make it easy and put all of their like personalized settings all in one page. Thank you so much, and I appreciate all the feedback you are willing to give, and I'm looking forward to it. Have a great night.